It's me, John D. Villarreal, joined by Paul F. Villarreal by phone. Oh my gosh. I mean, first of all, I want to thank you. We had a big, successful for us, we had a very successful stream last night. We really appreciate it. Love the engagement out there. It was great on X. I think my impressions were over 1,300. Paul's is going over 1,000, I believe. A lot of comments. We did great on YouTube as well. Great on Rumble. I mean, again, for us, building up, we really appreciate it. Love the interaction there. We had some Democrats come in here. We had Republicans come in here. So it was definitely a nice little mix, and it was really good. So we went a lot longer than we thought we were going to go. And talking to Paul, and we talked about it before that we may be doing this every day. I don't know. I'm not going to commit to that, but we definitely are going to have a lot to talk about as we lead up into this election, because there's just literally news happening every day, like today. And we did it Sunday. Today's Monday. And now we're at a situation where we have to start asking the question, are Democrats giving up on Kamala Harris? And I'm not just throwing that out there. This isn't, there's literally some issues, there's some signs out there, there's some quotes out there, we're going to talk through it, that seem to indicate that this may be happening. There's a nervousness that is really starting to set in with the Democrats. And I'm going to show you something right here. I'm going to go do something right here. This is on Paul's page here. Let me see if I can show you this. And again, I'm just going to be scrolling through things. I'm not responsible for whatever is on anyone else's page here. And so we're going to try to do this in, well, let me, before I do that, hold on. Let me just try to set this up and get where I need to get to here. There was a situation where Kamala Harris was out there in right here, and Sean Parnell, we'll get it. Well, let me line it up here. And I haven't read the whole thing. Sean Parnell is on the ground in Pennsylvania. Okay. And he has some things that he's talking about here. And let me share this right here. Boom. Here we go. There we go. Sean Parnell. Okay. So right here, Bob Casey not being in the critical swing county of Erie with Kamala is proof that she's toxic in Pennsylvania, and they both are in serious trouble here. That is Sean Parnell, and Sean Parnell has 260,000 followers out there. He's on the ground in Pennsylvania. Paul knows more about him. I know they've had some communication. I believe Sean Parnell has been in communication with the Trump campaign. I may be wrong about that, but let's get to this quote here, and it's very, very interesting here. And it's a short little clip here. Let me tee it up, and it kind of replays itself. Hold on one second, and let's just hear what Kamala Harris had to say here. Vice President Kamala Harris. Well, maybe
Bob Casey, who could not be here tonight because he's out doing what he needs to do.
Wait. Bob Casey, the sitting senator of Pennsylvania, couldn't be there tonight. Let's hear the rest of this.
To get reelected to the United States Senate. Bob Casey, who could not be here tonight because he's out doing what he needs to do to get reelected.
Wow. I mean, we've heard reports of that, right? I mean, she was just in Michigan. We have not seen Kamala Harris with a lot of sitting members of Congress, particularly the Senate. We're hearing reports, we're hearing rumors of people in the Senate senators dipping out on Kamala Harris. This is getting very interesting now. And we're seeing report after report on this. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Okay, what's going on here? Now, we also have some things going on with the Trump town hall. We're going to talk about that. Very big, very successful. Now, I do think that it was a little bit hot in there. In the Trump town hall, I can't play the audio because of the song stuff, but the Trump town hall basically turned into a concert. It was turned into a concert. I guess there was a couple of things going on there with some people, some medical stuff. I think it was a little bit stuff in there, and I don't know. I'm not alleging anything, just based upon what I saw on my personal opinion, potentially speculation. How about that? Based upon what I saw on the town hall, based upon what President Trump said. And so we'll talk about that more later tonight. But I really want to talk and throw it over to Paul here. Paul, what's the story with the Kamala Harris stuff? Let me stop sharing the screen for a second, because there's a lot of reports now. Or there's definitely some reports and some discussion out there that Democrats are getting very nervous, and that a lot of them are not appearing with Kamala Harris. What can you tell me? You're on the ground in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, John, what's going on is the scuttlebutt, or what I have heard, is that particularly Senate candidates in swing states, people like Ruben Gallego, people like Bob Casey, people like the Wisconsin senator, can't remember, I keep forgetting her name. There is apparently hesitation to do events with Kamala Harris. And that's what we saw tonight, apparently, with Bob Casey. That's what Sean Parnell was talking about in his thing. Sean Parnell, of course, former Senate candidate himself here in Pennsylvania. He has very good information about what's going on. He knows what's happening in that contest.
Tammy Baldwin.
And Tammy Baldwin, yes, that's exactly right. And so that's what's happening. There is, and this goes to a larger issue about what we're going to talk about tonight, which is, are Democrats starting to kind of inch away from the Kamala Harris campaign? And I think we're starting to see some signs of that. And we're going to talk about that more later in reference to something an Axios reporter put out tonight. So, yeah, I mean, the bottom line is this. As we know, when President Trump went down to Atlanta and did his rally there a couple of months ago, and I think ago now, and Brian Kemp didn't show up, President Trump called him out at the event. So, in other words, Brian Kemp was supposed to be there. And so if Bob Casey wanted to be there tonight, I'm sure that Kamala Harris wanted him there tonight, and he wasn't there. And so she can say whatever she wants, but the story's starting to spread. You know, if you're in a swing state, and maybe you don't want to do events with her. And you know, that's what's starting to happen now. Tammy Baldwin didn't show up with Kamala Harris when Kamala Harris last went to Wisconsin. So we're seeing a trend here. I think that might be leading to some real speculation about where things are.
We also have polls out there. I know you put some stuff out there, and as I alluded to last night I tell you, you gotta follow me. You gotta follow Paul. Also, please join my Twitter account at John D. Villarreal. And you know, Paul out there, we're doing some, we're getting some good following here, and Paul's definitely posted on his X account. His X account is over like 22,000 and growing, no doubt about it. Definitely appreciate M Squared out there, Christopher David, for retweeting us. We appreciate that. But what I was getting, you know, and Paul like talked to me afterwards. I'm not trying to air anything out, but I'm just kind of taking you inside baseball just a little bit here. Like, oh, you know, you kind of, I'm not going to characterize what he said about himself, but about, you know, more about what, like, I kind of took a risk last night. Let me put it that way. I kind of took a risk last night just based upon my gut reaction and my political expertise. I mean, decades and decades of just kind of where I thought the states were going to line up. And if you would have said this when I said it or before, people would have been like, I don't know, John, that's a little bit risky. Well, lo and behold, Rich Barris, the People's Pollster, drops a poll. And let me see if I can find this on Paul's page here, because Paul was put a lot of stuff out there. Actually, before I go to that, but Rich Barris puts out this, like, let me try to find that. Puts out a poll saying, guess what? Trump, Michigan +3. And I just felt like Michigan was really slipping away.
Let me just qualify that slightly.
Go ahead.
He hasn't actually, to my knowledge, released the poll yet. But what he's saying is that with the unweighted data is Trump +2. And when he was on there talking about it today, he's looking at it and said, you know what? I think this is going to end up at +3. I just want to say that because he hasn't officially put it out yet, as far as I know.
Absolutely. And so let me, man. Okay, here we go. This is Paul's page. So I'm going to put this right here, and we can go to, we'll get a little bit of sound here from Barris. 1 second. And now this is someone who's very highly respected. And I know Paul and him have shared some, and this is the thing, like, Paul's my brother, but Paul talks to, we both talk to a lot of top level people just in different spheres. And Paul was big on X. And go ahead, Paul.
I'll just say this about Rich Barris. Rich Barris, now, people gave him a lot of grief because he had a little bit of, I won't say a big miss, a little bit of a miss in 2022. And I think there's some reason for that. Rich Barris is without a doubt one of the best pollsters in the country, particularly given the new cell phone, computer, smartphone era. He's one of the best pollsters at actually reaching people, and he is without question one of the best pollsters for Rust Belt states. He is one of the best pollsters for Pennsylvania.
Everyone has their expertise,
Michigan,
exactly.
Wisconsin, no doubt about that.
And this is the thing.
So if he drops a poll in the Rust Bowl, you got to listen to that.
I felt like the combination of like Trump going to Michigan, knowing the Rust Belt myself, how we grew up, the auto industry and the threat of the EVs and the manufacturing in Mexico, the no tax on overtime, no tax on tips. Uncommitted. There's a lot of different, Gretchen Whitmer and her stuff. There's just a lot of different.
You called that out yesterday.
I did. And I'm like, Michigan, don't sleep on Michigan. And lo and behold, here we go. Rich Bears. Let's hear from Rich Bears in his own words right here, and we'll comment on it.
Here's Protestants, as you can see, is overwhelmingly a Trumpy vote. Okay. First of all, Trump is leading by 2 points before it splits. All right. Before we push to the side. It's all right. The Catholic vote is significantly Trumpy in the initial ask. It tightens. There it is. It tightens when you lean people. But the fact of the matter is,
now let me pause it right here for just a second. Now, see, Rich is those crosstabs going into the data, all the demographics, breaking it all out right here. But listen to the conclusion that he's, and then we're going to comment on it.
And actually, oh my God, this is going to hurt Harris more. Never mind. Just realized by area, this is going to hurt Harris more. This will end up maybe being a Trump +3 in Michigan. I'm just saying that's what it looks like.
A Trump +3. He's, in my opinion, and we'll see the end of this, he's surprised because we've never seen it like this at this stage of the campaign. He's going to say
that. He's never seen it like this.
And let's finish it out right. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is the time where the polls close. This is the time when the Republicans close. This is the time when all the space cadet type of polls start, the 10+ Democrat lead starts tightening up to 2, 3, 4 points. But you're used to going as a Republican, right? You're used to going into the election with a +2, +3, +5 national Democrat leads. Now we're seeing Trump winning the battleground states. We're seeing some of these lean blue, some of these uncommitted or toss-up states pushing over into Republican, and we're seeing the national, polls super, super tight. And we'll go to that in terms of looking at where Clinton was at this point in time in 2016, where Joe Biden was at this point in 2020. So this is very surprising. Let's finish out here with Rich.
All right.
For context, I don't think you ever had Trump ahead of Michigan.
Never. Oh my God.
Never.
Are you kidding me? By this much? No. Robert, I had Trump +1 was our final in 16. Biden +2 was our final in 2020.
Right.
Even when Trump won the state, it was like at the very end, he had a 0.5% lead, folks. Here's Protestants.
That's what we're talking about. I mean, absolutely explosive commentary there and data in terms of this state, Michigan, Paul. If Michigan goes for Trump, in your opinion, Paul, first of all, hat tip, thank you for Rich Bears, the People's Pollster out there. Follow Rich Bears on X out there, Paul. But if Michigan, if this is right, and Bears has been, very accurate in certain respects, a lot of other people have been accurate as well. We've got Trafalgar poll out there, Rasmussen reports, and others. I don't want to miss anyone. There's the other one too. I'm losing it right now, but hopefully you're reminding me. Trafalgar. There was another one with an A, or Atlas.
Atlas, Trafalgar, yeah. Rasmussen.
Yep. Okay.
Those are the best guys with Bears. Yeah.
They haven't seen Trump ever be like this. Do you think, two questions. Number one, can Harris win without Michigan? And number two, are we at a point now where the Harris campaign is, I don't want to say imploding, but where there's just a big momentum shift to Trump?
I look, is it theoretically possible she could win without Michigan? Yeah. Realistically, no. And because almost certainly, you would think Pennsylvania would vote to the right of Michigan, although it's conceivable given uncommitted, given how Trump is doing with some minority groups. It's conceivable Michigan could vote to the right of Pennsylvania, but it's very unlikely in my opinion. So no, I just don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible. She would have to win both North Carolina and Georgia, which just seems like it's not going to happen. So no, I think if Trump wins Michigan, it's pretty much over. Yeah. And him being up 3 points at this point, look, It's not just that he's up 3 points, it's that he's closing ridiculously fast and
Yeah.
hard there. He
Yeah.
was not up 3 points. He wasn't up. I mean, this is happening quickly. This is something that Bears has pointed out recently
Go
is
ahead.
the closing that you're seeing right now. We're starting to see a break in the race very early. People compare this is right around the time when the Reagan and Carter race separated. It usually doesn't happen this quickly. Hillary Clinton didn't really start to fade away until the end of October. We're in the middle of October. So this is kind of shocking to people, particularly given Trump and how polarizing he can be. So yeah, things look like they're starting to turn. And we're going to get to more of that later in what was told to the Axios reporter. But yes, it does not look good for Kamala Harris.
Now this is,
at all.
and I got to be super careful how I say this. I'm not going to show something. Okay. There are, I'm going to be very high level on this. There are ads out there that are very hard hitting. Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. And there's ads
I know
out,
what you're talking about.
yeah, there's ads out there that are very hard hitting, and they're, Trump is dumping these ads, and it's literally using video and sound unaltered, other than editing for time for the. Again, I'm not making any allegations or anything like that, but I mean, this is not AI, from what I can tell, in my personal opinion. Okay, and very hard hitting. And I just think that now and someone else said this, and I've said this for a long time. You're having a situation where Kamala Harris isn't even running against Donald Trump. Kamala Harris is running against Kamala Harris. And Buck Sexton was on, and actually, I really want to put this up. I don't know that I can put it up there, but Buck Sexton was on Bill Maher, Real Time with Bill Maher. And there was John Connolly out here. Hold on, Paul. We've got a little comment right here. John Connolly, say it ain't so, Joe. A repeat of 2016, Donald Trump elected president. Right there. I mean, I'm telling you, people are feeling it. People are feeling it now, Paul. And what I wanted to say is you're having a situation. It's a little too unrelated. They're not really related, but they are related. Kamala Harris cannot explain, and Sexton talked about it on the show with Clay Travis today, the 12 to 3 slot here on the East Coast. Look, how it's very hard for her to explain. As I said, it's one thing to change positions, and we know politicians, they maybe stretch the truth and stuff like that, or evolve positions and and do things for campaigns, potentially, in my opinion. But this is so extreme. It's just a complete 180. And the problem of it is that she'll go on Colbert and others and say, hey, how are you different than Joan? Well, I wouldn't really do anything. Nothing comes to mind of what I would do different. Like this on the change candidate, you're in office. It doesn't make any sense. There's cognitive dissonance, and then there's just a psychotic break. In my, metaphorically speaking, this is craziness. It doesn't make sense. Now, what Buck Sexton was saying was, and again, I don't want to get too into this, but it just illuminates a little bit of the moment that we're in. They asked about masculinity and whatever, and define it or something. I don't know. You can find the clip out there. I don't want to misspeak for sure in this area. But basically, Buck was saying some stuff well, maybe it's this and this, and then CNN person, well, why can't that apply, to, whoever, And then Buck's well, wait a minute. Can we say anything positive about men without being, make it a negative? Is it only toxic masculinity? And the point of it is, I don't want to get involved in all that, but the point of it is that you're having a situation now where people are just hey, does any of this make sense? And the political pendulum usually swings back and forth, right? And now we're at a situation where maybe it hasn't just gone too far, and people are just we're done with this. And maybe that kind of illustrates how Barack Obama was out there kind of chastising African-American men for not voting for Kamala. And it kind of started to feel like, a Joe Biden on Charlemagne the God on the Breakfast Club type of deal. And people are nah, we're not doing it. In fact, there was significant blowback that I think that was a net negative And people are just like, look, dude, I can't afford groceries. I can't afford stuff. There was a woman that went up. There was two women that went up in one of these Trump town halls. One of which was saying, like, listen, I used to be a Democrat, stuff like that. I can't afford anything anymore. Like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And then there was another woman
Yeah.
that just went up on, and this is again the JD Vance thing where we played that last night and we talked about it, and lots of people were talking about where he just crushed Martha Raddatz because it was just a handful of apartments. These gangs have only taken over a handful of apartments of Colorado, and people are like, "Are you kidding me? Like what are you talking about?" And everyone's like this doesn't make any sense. There was a woman in there that I think Paul was, I think she was Democrat and stuff like that, saying, look, this is craziness. Like it's gone out of control. And now she's voting for Trump. Am I wrong in that? Did I read that wrong? I just I've been busy. So I kind of skimmed the headlines, but I think I saw that. In fact, sorry, I've got it right here. Excuse me. 1 second. Let me pull it up. This is Fox News. Let's go to this right here. And let's see right here. A headline, Fox News. Slap in the face. Woman forced to flee home due to violent migrant gang unleashes on media lawmakers. Okay. And then they talk about the Vance, talking with Martha Raddatz right here. This is the video of that's one of the apartment complexes where they were breaking in this thing and whatever, allegedly. Right. And, this is a serious situation, and people are very, very concerned here. Okay. And so they're doing some reporting here and they're talking about it and showing the pictures and stuff. We're not going to play that. But I mean, people are very, very concerned now. And these are people on the ground, right? Cindy Romero, right? A quote, it feels like this is Fox News, Hannah Ray Lambert, okay, 5:30 p.m. today, and media and government officials are downplaying the impact of gangs in Aurora, Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado, says one woman who moved out of her apartment early this year due to increasing violence. And they just talk about some different things in here and they're showing some stuff. And I mean, look, this is a serious situation. And someone else said it too. Like, if government can't protect you, like, what are they supposed to do? I mean, it's Paul, how big of an impact? I mean, we know the border is a big issue right here. And now we have, and I'll show this later, where all of a sudden Kamala Harris is going to go on and do an interview with Brett Baer. And Brett Baer's kind of been going back and forth with people on Twitter, like, hey, are you going to edit it? And hey, and so he's kind of answering, are you going to give the questions beforehand? And, some people sort of heckling him. But I guess what I'm getting at is, and of course, internet's open to anyone, whatever. But I mean, people are very skeptical of mainstream media. We saw the CBS debate. Okay. We saw the ABC debate, and people are, but I think that to a large extent, like, people know the lives they're living. People know if their apartment building is safe or not. People know if eggs and stuff is bad. We just had a hurricane here and in Florida, and I went to the store trying to buy some eggs and stuff for the family, right? And my wife works super hard, and she's always working and doing stuff. She's just, a doctor and stuff, and so eggs were gone, dude. There, you can't. But now, of course, that's some supply chains and hurricane and prepping and whatever and all that type of stuff. But I mean, when you can't buy staples, or butter at the store costs almost $6, for a pound of butter, stuff like that. Like, dude, it affects people. It absolutely affects people. People know the lives they're living. And so, to your point, Paul, are we at a point where things are kind of baked in? Does it matter about this interview with Brett Baer? What is she going to say there that she's not said other places? Now, who knows? I mean, we have all 3 weeks to campaign, but how much do you feel like you kind of made the comment, I don't want to steal your thunder, but I mean, like, you feel like this is, I'll set you up. How important is this week to the Kamala Harris and Trump campaigns?
It's essential. And let me just say, I'll just come to a couple of these things. Number one, you mentioned about former Democrats. There was a woman tonight at the town hall that was a former Democrat, basically, and she was essentially saying, hey, what are we going to do about, deporting people? So that just shows you where people are at with that issue. Trump himself said tonight at the town hall that, look, I know that people are saying economy and inflation are the number one issues.
Getting something prepped.
Yeah. Basically, people are saying that that's a number one issue, but in his mind, the border is a number one issue. Look, I'm just touching on the town hall quickly. We can say some more things about it later. This thing was an epic event tonight. It began as a normal town hall with Governor Kristi Noem. And a couple people, as you said earlier, it was a very stuffy room apparently. A couple people had, probably, I didn't see them, maybe had like little feigning spells or something like this. They were okay. But then because of that happened, Trump transformed it, kind of decided like, you know what, let's cut this short. I'm just going to play some music and people relax and kind of leave when you want. The only thing is nobody wanted to leave.
Yeah, it's
So
wild.
he kept playing music. It became like this concert. It was unbelievable. I put it up. People go and check it out. It's really interesting. Yeah, so that's happening. And you said, how important is this week? This week is essential because this week is when Georgia and North Carolina begin their in-person early voting. And usually those things are front loaded. So if Kamala Harris cannot get the numbers, like big numbers on when those things begin, she's going to have, it's going to be incredibly difficult for her to win those two states. So all eyes are on the Sun Belt this week. And if that doesn't happen for her, good luck. I'll just say that. There's something else, another issue that you brought up, and I can't remember what it was, but just saying that, look, yeah, where are we at? What was reported tonight from an Access reporter, and I can't remember her last, it's like Bruthka or something like this. I think it's like a Scandinavian name. What she said, she had a couple of quotes from people in, I believe, the U.S. House. One of them essentially said, and it was anonymous, look, the general feeling among membership here is that Kamala Harris is likely to win the popular vote, but she is likely to lose the Electoral College. And that's the conventional wisdom. And I took that as, and I said, we talked about this off air, took that as this is the beginning of the preparation of the members of Congress to let the base know we're starting to prepare for Kamala Harris to lose this race. And that means a couple different things. It means what we said earlier, which is people like Bob Casey or Ruben Gallego or Tammy Baldwin might not be doing events with her because they don't want to lose also. It also means there's going to be an increasing focus on the House of Representatives. The Senate, for most people's assessment, is gone. The Republicans are going to take the Senate. If there's any chance here for the Democrats to kind of make the argument, hey, we're going to be a check on President Trump, it is going to be in the U.S. House. So I think if things continue in the trends that we're seeing now, you will see increasing amount of money and energy put into trying to win the House. Now, if things go the way that they're going, I think it's going a very strong possibility that the Republicans keep the House. But if you are the Democrats and you think that Kamala is going to lose, that's your best bet, is to try to put your energy and money into that. So that's what I think we're going to be looking for over this next week. What happens in the early voting in the Sun Belt? Do you start to see more Democrats in Congress say, hey, you know what? We need to win the House, and so on and so forth.
Okay. And then what I'm going to put up right here, as I saw a couple of things where you're doing this, and we also have a big report from Chris Rufo about potential plagiarism and stuff like that. We're going to talk about that very quickly. We're going to go super long tonight. I got some stuff to do, but we're going to, and we're looking to be more frequent as we get closer to the election here. But we've got this here about how, from the National Review, about how Democrats are really starting to worry. Headline right here: the mid-October Democratic presidential campaign panic attack. Okay, and this is by Jim Garrity. All right, and it just basically talks about, that Democrats are sweating. All right, and then it also goes into sort of 5 different things in 5 days. So before then, now you can refer you to this. You can go check it out. That Trump has tightened the gap in national polls from NBC, CBS, ABC. I told you about that. The best result for Harris ABC poll, which had Harris at 50% and Trump at 48%. And I'm going to tell you right now, if a Democrat's leading a Republican by 2 points, that's going to be a super close election because of how the Electoral College works and the battleground states and stuff like that, right? And toss-up states and all that. Now, if Trump is even or leading, it's over. It's a wrap. It could be an Electoral College blowout. Then we talk about CNN describes Harris as struggling to restore momentum. Okay. And we did MSNBC's Morning Joe co-host Mika Brzezinski is saying that we've been talking about the frustration among a lot of Democrats that maybe the message isn't breaking through to key voters. I mean, we're just going on and on right here about the shift here. Maureen Dowd, Politico, Ezra Klein. You know, I mean, like there's a lot of stuff. Pod Save America. Go ahead, Paul.
I saw a clip today of Mika Brzezinski, of course, on Morning Joe, and the cry on was something like "time for voters to step up," and Mika was basically pleading with people. So the writing is starting to become on the wall. We are starting to see that. Mark Halpern, if you go down, you can go and see the clip that I put up for Mark Halpern today on his the morning meeting today, basically talking about what he is hearing from Democrats. He is hearing Democrats say that they don't think that Kamala Harris is putting in enough work, meaning, okay, she's got one event in Pennsylvania Bay. Yeah, we'll go to that. That's a very good clip. I mean, Mark is very tied in. And I thought that, he's definitely giving voice to concerns that are being told to him. The upshot being, look, okay, that's great. She's doing one event today. Why isn't she doing 3 events today? And so on and so forth. Because we know Trump is going to close strong. Wasn't 2016 on the final night? He did 5 rallies in one night.
Absolutely.
And so, you got to be able to run through the tape here. Trump's built for this. Kamala Harris, according to people like your buddy Harmeet Dillon, isn't built for this, and has never really been interested in she's somebody's apparently had a lot of things handed to her. So it's a very contrast here, and it's starting to show up, I think, in the results.
Let's say, I do want to do it. Well, a little shout out to people. We'll go to that in a second. The notifications. We're getting a lot of activity here on X. Definitely appreciate it. We want to shout out to William Miller, Purple Phoenix, Windmill, again, M Squared, and Christopher David. Definitely appreciate it. Thanks everyone for reposting, liking the post, interacting with it, and we'll go to that in a second. Right here is we've got Mark Halpern right here, and his guest right here. And we're going to go to this.
Yeah, Sean Spicer, and I can't remember who the other guy is. I know, he's a Democrat. That clip is just Mark Halpern. I can't remember that other man's name.
Here we go. And then I will comment in the middle of it.
Look at where we are in this race, knowing that both candidates have at least 46% of the vote, in not just nationally, but in the battleground states, almost certainly as a floor, as a minimum floor, 46. So what's on the Democratic side? Number one, complaints about.
Okay, so let's understand what that 46% is a floor, which means that you're really fighting over 4%, and there's an 8% swing in the middle, right? 4% either way, that you persuadable voters where you can try to maneuver that. So, they always talk about the 40-40-20 rule, 40% on one side, 40% on the other side, 20% in the middle. Now that's like narrowed down to 8%, right? As we get closer. So kind of what Paul was saying and what I was saying is, how many people are persuadable? So according to Mark Halpern, you're down to about maybe 8%. Okay. So that's important. Let's hear the rest of this.
Better schedule. Her schedule is lighter than Trump. Today's a typical example. She's starting her day at 4:30. I'm sure she's doing stuff during the day that is intended to help her to work.
Time out. People made fun of Joe Biden for getting up at 10, 11, starting the day at 10, 11. Her first event, Kamala Harris's first event, is at 4:30 p.m. According to Mark Halpern. We're like almost exactly 3 weeks out from election. That is insane. Like, what in the world, dude? I mean, you've got Trump. It's funny because it's like, if I didn't hear that, I would have never believed it. Like, you couldn't, there's just no way. So let's continue.
When? But their Democrats are asking, why isn't she in 3 battleground states a day?
Right.
Why isn't she in 4 media markets in Pennsylvania today rather than 1? If you assume she's behind, which again, I think she is right now, not by a lot, why isn't she working harder?
Time out. You just heard it there from Mark Halpern. No Republican. Okay. I mean, this is a dude that he's written books with Heilman and stuff like that. And had the show and has been on MSNBC.
Yeah.
This is a dude that is, I would say, leans liberal and is very connected with Democrats and stuff like that. He straight up said that he thinks Kamala Harris is behind. Paul, go ahead.
Let me just say this again, just to give people a little bit more background about Mark Halpern. Mark Halpern, I believe, used to be the ABC political director or something like that, or whatever he was with ABC. Prominent role there with ABC and their news political division. His father, who I can't remember the name of, His father worked for, I believe, the Clinton administration, and I think maybe the Bush and Obama administration. So
Okay.
the family is extremely plugged in, particularly on the liberal side. Mark knows a lot of people, and he knows a lot of things. So he is hearing a bunch of stuff. He has real contacts, and his family is very connected.
I like Mark because, again, I'm not, I've never met him personally. I'm not,
Mark.
this isn't a personal
Good
thing or
guy.
anything like that. But I like Mark because, like, he seems reasonable. He's got good analysis. I like the way he kind of works through the show and stuff like that. Like, I think that he is an experienced political reporter, and I think that he's done a good job of adapting into the new media and stuff like that. So why I'm saying that is I think that Mark Halperin provides value to political analysis, is what I'm saying, right? I'm not saying I'm going to go, I don't know the guy, but I'm not saying we're going to go, going to have a beer or something like that, but I'm saying that I think he's done a great job on the media perspective, and I think he provides great value on the media, on the political analysis side. So let's continue with that.
Number two, she's spending a lot of the week reinforcing, as Dan said, black vote. Okay, great. That's a problem they have to solve. But 3 weeks to go, and they're proposing new policies targeted.
Okay, so let me explain that right there. When you're 3 weeks out and you're going to work on your base, you're in trouble. Okay, you're in big trouble. That's what that means.
You got a
real problem. Okay, let's continue.
Black Americans doing events for Black Americans. Let's be honest, guys, about American politics. She's targeting Black voters. A, that's a problem that she decides to do it this late. And B, some White voters won't like it. That's just a reality. 3, she's talking about stuff.
Now, see, I don't know. Again, I'm not going to characterize that. Those are his words, not mine, or anything like that. Is that a discussion of the Obama thing? Is that because the problem of it is now, and I'll let you in right here, Paul. I'll just say this real quick. It's the time, like a big factor of this is the timing. You're 3 weeks out, so you're not working with a rhetorical scalpel. You're working with a sledgehammer. Okay, and it's coming off pretty, in my opinion, obtuse or heavy-handed. It's not resonating, right? I mean, go ahead, Paul.
The issue.
Go ahead, Paul.
That's, I think, the issue. Basically, what he's saying is, if you're pandering to people, they're going to pick up on that. If you're scolding them, they're not going to like that, which is what the problem that Obama ran into. One more thing about Halpern.
Yeah.
The reason why Halpern is so essential in this particular cycle, he is the person that correctly predicted when Joe Biden was going to get out of the race.
He did. Hat tip to Mark Halpern for that.
Man.
And great sources, and no doubt about it. Absolutely. Let's continue. And this is the thing. If you want to know what's going on, this is the problem with the people in the bubble and stuff like that. If all you listen to is MSNBC or Fox News, like you're not getting the full picture. And no disrespect to MSNBC or Fox News or anything like that. And in fact, let me just put this up here super quick.
Yeah,
because I wanted to put this up, and this is actually the perfect time to put it up. And we'll come back to Halpern right here, okay? Because check this out. Let me make sure I have it where I have it. Okay, I think that's it. This is
all I want to say is the truth is, if you want to really know what's happening in this race right now, the people that you need to listen to are Mark Halpern, Rich Bears, and other people like that.
Well, and us.
Those people have a better feel on the race than anybody else.
And
us, because we're bringing it to you.
And not only do we bring it to you, but we've been ahead of the game. Again, that Michigan call, nobody was talking about that and I said it last night. Not like that. And then all of a sudden the data comes in and people are shocked on it. We're ahead of the game. Paul lives in Pennsylvania. We've lived in Appalachia. We know this. I've been involved in campaigns. I've been involved in U.S. Senate campaigns coast to coast. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying I'm like Karl Rove or anything like that, but I mean, like the thing of it is I'm not trying to diss anyone. I'm not going to get myself in trouble, but, and there's a story, there's some stories about Karl Rove right now. I don't know. Is he going to Pennsylvania? Like what's going on with Karl Rove? But anyway, I mean, dude, I mean, the Bush politics, the airdrops, the massive money, I mean, they didn't work. It didn't work for DeSantis. No disrespect to DeSantis, but we're in a different age right now, right? And now you're seeing Brad Parscale, you're seeing different things. You're seeing Trump in the town hall. You have to be very nimble. You have to be, you've seen what, Elon Musk, you've seen the podcast. But anyway, I want to go to this. Cenk Uygur, founder of the Young Turks, right? No less than super liberal dude. And I'm going to quote right here, 2 hours ago on X. If you're a reporter and you think you shouldn't report negative news about Kamala Harris because it might help Trump, you're not a reporter. If you expect a news show to give you only positive coverage of Democrats, you're not watching a news show, you're watching a commercial. Okay. And I think those are very, very, on point comments there by St. Gungar. I want to go back here to Mark Halperin from Paul's page here. And let's finish off this thing right here.
Really has no effect on the real lives of real people. Okay. When you are in the end and you're looking at the polls every day and the stuff you haven't been doing that isn't working according to your own data, what do? You start talking about new stuff to see what sticks to the wall. So she's now talking about a bunch of stuff related to Trump's being secretive. No medical records, won't debate, won't do 60 Minutes. These are all signs that they know they have a problem.
I mean, look at that. Like you got Halperin kind of laughing, the Democratic guy laughing, Sean Spicer laughing. Dude, this is a, I think we've got enough there. This is a joke. You're going to go after Trump's medical records, and Speaker Johnson, like they try to get, what about Trump's medical records? And Speaker Johnson's like, dude, he's out every day. Like, what are you talking about? Like just stop, dude. This is just silliness. Listen, I think this is we're going to wind it down now. We're at the 40-minute mark here. I mean, it goes so fast. There's so much news every day. Oh, I do want to thank people before I do that. Let me go over here. And I mean, we started this really late, obviously, because of the Trump town hall and stuff like that. We really appreciate it. Everybody being out there and supporting us here. We've got 179 interactions here on X. M squared, loving it. Appreciate that. And again, we want to shout out to William Miller, Purple Phoenix, Windmill, M squared, and Christopher David from going ahead and liking the post, people following, Claymore following, different, people interacting there. We definitely appreciate that. 187. It keeps going. We definitely appreciate, we're out there on Rumble Studio. We're definitely live on Rumble, live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on X. And it's fun. We're trying to do what we can do here. We're trying to bring you some information. Before I put that out there, and now I'll just at least show this very quickly. I don't have all the details. We're going to dive into it today. But will Brett Baer ask about this? And I'm not saying, sit here and play gotcha, but the Christopher Rufo story, and this is on Christopher Rufo. Yeah. He's got his, I think, what is this? .com. Kamala Harris's plagiarism problem. And he talks about the book Smart on Crime. And I guess he was paired up with there was some dude that's done some kind of plagiarism stuff from Germany or something like that. I don't know. I just saw some headlines on this, but he basically goes through this and analyzes it in some detail. And, I don't think that story helps out right now. I'm not going to comment on alleging anything, but people can go and see what they think about that. There are stories about that. I think Fox, I don't know. There are some stories out there. And look, I think that if this is true, it goes to, from a political standpoint, Paul, the authenticity question. And I think that this doesn't help, Kamala Harris at this point. And I think you had a situation where Democrats were thinking, and again, well, let me think how I want to put this. Give me a second here. I'm going to do an Elon Musk and take a pause. I think if you would have asked Democrats 3 months ago, 6 months ago, that they would have thought that the news cycle was going to be on their side. And now, you're seeing the momentum. You're seeing the news cutting against that. You're seeing that Trump's got the momentum. The news stories are starting to come in against Kamala Harris. There's reports about infighting on the campaigns. There's reports that Democrats are starting to give up, maybe protect down balance. It's going to be very, very interesting. I agree with Paul. This is a crucial week. We have the Brett Baer interview. Brett Baer is out there talking about stuff and answering people about how it's going to be. Apparently, it's going to be live to tape, I believe. And he's got some questions. He asked people to submit some questions. So we're going to see. It's going to be very, very interesting. So anyway, we appreciate everybody out there. Paul, any final words you have?
Yeah, I just want to say that Chris Rufo just put up a thing literally within the last 5 minutes showing an article by CNN essentially appearing to confirm, yes, there is plagiarism involved here with Kamala Harris.
Okay, and that is on his
that's on his X.
On his X.
That is on his X. Yes, that was on his X.
Wow. Wow. Okay, 1 second. Let me just see if I can find that because we're talking about it. So let's at least try to bring that to the audience in fairness here. Let's see what up. Okay. 1 second. Let me see what I can. Okay. Yes, I do. Okay, hold on. 1 second. We're gonna bring this to you right now. This is what happens. It's live. We're doing this right here.
Yeah, it's just breaking all the time.
Breaking all the time. Here we go. Christopher Rufo. 4 minutes ago, breaking. CNN confirms my reporting that Kamala Harris plagiarized her book, Smart on Crime. Wow. And now, what did I tell you at the store, Paul? This is exactly how it worked with Claudine Gay. The New York Times tried to obfuscate. CNN told the truth.
Yep.
Other publications followed. Eventually, even the New York Times admitted it was plagiarism. And then CNN's Politics Watch, CNN revealed several of the patches highlighted by Rufo and found that Harris and O.C. Hamilton failed to properly attribute language to sources. So, look, there you go. Breaking news. So we're going to see. I mean, it gets more and more interesting here. And I think that without getting in the back and the forth and the gotcha and, oh, Trump's a bad, and Trump's so bad and I don't like, and plagiarism. I think it comes down to really this. I mean, what are the key issues that people are concerned about today, and who do the American people believe or have the confidence in that has the competency to address those issues in a meaningful way? And I think that Trump has illuminated his plans. He's also talked about, Elon Musk and getting him involved in having the Department of Government Efficiency, the Doge or whatever that is. And I mean, Elon Musk with what he's been doing with SpaceX and Tesla and Optimus robots and all this type of stuff. I mean, there's credibility there. Plus, we've seen what Trump's done before. JD Vance. I mean, that pick. I mean, JD Vance is just it's unbelievable. And so I think that there's a lot of momentum right now. It's an interesting time because I think we need to embrace people. And I think we need to have open conversations and free speech. And Linda here on X, the CEO, and Elon, a lot of the VCs, Mark Andreessen's really stepped up. There's so many people. Mark Benioff has been saying some stuff, not happy with Kamala Harris not doing the time stuff. A lot of the traditional liberal people is like we're having a conversation of what we want this country to be about. It's a very important time, very interesting time. Really appreciate you being out there supporting us. We're going to wind it down right now, but we're probably going to be doing something that, you're definitely going to see us later this week live, maybe even tomorrow. We may be doing this daily. I'm not going to totally commit to that, but I mean, obviously it's a very important time. The news is moving fast. We want to be there and share this with you. So we appreciate you being here. So for Paul, I'm John. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We will see you next time.